Good evening to all guests and also the ICRIA faculty, chairman, vice chairman of Niti Aayog, chairperson of ICRIA Pramod Basin, Rajiv Kumar, VC of Niti Aayog, Deepak Mishra, the director of ICRIA. Thank you for having me here today. I think you've chosen a very apt theme for today's discussion, the global economic coordination in the age of pandemic, and view of India as part of the G20 is what I would like to lay before you. I first of all congratulate the ICRIA on its 13th annual conference. The topic is well chosen also because I think the pandemic, like no other global matter of concern, has brought to the fore how the world is actually interconnected. We have discussions about global value chain, how any country should get into it, how we can plan for it, and so on. But this one virus has actually highlighted how this world is so globally interconnected in terms of how speedily a crisis can spread and how important it is for us to respond to it. So the global coordination is the key to all that we, so that we get back to being normal at the earliest and get out of the crisis at the earliest. Now, I'm so happy to also state here that the Ministry of Finance during the pandemic and even now has spent a lot of intensive consultation, working out, researching, looking at what's happening around in the globe, and has done intensive work. What the intensive work has got out as outcome is therefore history to analyze. But definitely because the work has been in such a depth, I seek your indulgence because I'm somebody who loves speaking impromptu with just a few notes in my hand. Whether that's a virtue or not, I do not know. That's been my habit. But now, if you would permit me, I'd actually read out my statement because I don't want to miss out on any little detail that we have been doing in the course of coordinating globally and also in the course of realizing how much more coordination is required. So allow me to go through a read speech, but I mean every bit of what is in it because I have spent that kind of time reading, learning, working together with everybody in the ministry. See, the G20 has risen to the occasion actually, and I'm very happy India has played a role in that. The G20 has risen to the occasion and played its role effectively as the premier forum for international coordination. It brings together the advanced and most important developing countries in a grouping large enough to make an impact while being small enough to ensure efficient decision making. The G20 has been an institutional innovation of sorts. It was created as a crisis response mechanism to the global financial crisis of 2008. With its broad-based agenda setting and consensus-based decision-making process, the G20 has remained one of the more significant platforms today to deliberate and address global economic issues. Its finance track uniquely brings together representation from ministries of finance and central banks and enables expert-level discussions on a range of issues of global relevance, such as the international financial architecture, taxation, sustainable finance, and financial inclusion. So the role of G20 during the COVID-19 response is what I would first focus on. G20 leaders met within 2 weeks of the declaration of the pandemic, and within a short span of about 20 days, finance ministers met thrice to chart out the immediate response to the crisis. The G20 began with much needed immediate relief efforts, particularly for the most vulnerable countries, through its unprecedented debt service suspension initiative, which provides urgent fiscal space to low economic countries to fight the pandemic and safeguard lives and livelihood of millions. The G20 was quick also to understand the interconnected nature of crisis and required response, and brought finance and health ministers together to bring the pandemic under control everywhere as soon as possible. The G20 has put its weight behind the efforts towards ensuring affordable and equitable access to vaccines and therapeutics. Since the beginning of the crisis, the G20 remained instrumental in ramping up urgent financial support from international financial institutions. In July this year, G20 finance ministers called upon the IMF to come up with a new general allocation of SDRs, which fructified into the highest ever allocation, amounting to $650 billion to meet global liquidity and reserve needs. The finance track of G20 also came up with multifaceted, comprehensive, and living response framework in the form of a G20 action plan in response to COVID-19, in which India had a key role to play as co-chair of the framework working group. This has been a guiding tool in our domestic as well as international efforts towards pandemic response and recovery. The ministers and governors of G20 have remained committed to sustaining the recovery through international cooperation, maintaining support where necessary, while planning to promote future growth prospects in line with economic conditions, preserving financial stability, price stability, and long-term fiscal sustainability, and safeguarding against downside risks and negative spillovers. These coordinated and concrete measures have helped shore up and sustain global economic recovery, simultaneously salvaging and strengthening the international financial architecture and financial regulatory arrangements. This is, of course, in addition to the unprecedented policy support provided domestically by the governments of the G20 countries. The ongoing work of G20 is interesting as well. The G20 is not only working towards recovering from the present crisis, but has also begun working on strengthening future pandemic preparedness and response. While doing so, we continue working on long-term reform agendas, such as facilitating advanced and well-functioning infrastructure, particularly inclusive and digital infrastructure, channeling of financing for achieving the sustainable development goals, and strengthening long-term financial resilience and supporting inclusive growth. With reference to the pandemic, at the G20, we remain committed to use all available policy tools for as long as required to address the adverse consequences of COVID-19. We are also determined to avoid premature support policy withdrawals, which could threaten global financial stability. We are also preparing for new innovations, such as the crypto assets and global stable coins. One of the important areas of the G20 work, which has assumed great significance in the post-pandemic scenario, is the need for enhancing digital financial inclusion. particularly of the most vulnerable and underserved. This is a well-known and successful area of India's own domestic developmental agenda. We have contributed our perspectives and experiences on financial inclusion of youth, women, SMEs, and on advancement of digital financial literacy, finally, financial protection for consumers and for MSMEs. Being a heterogeneous gathering, sometimes there are differences in approaches favored by the various countries depending on their stage of development. For instance, on combating climate change, while it is a concern for every country on the world map, the mitigation and adaptation strategies differ between advanced and developing countries. We try to put forward the developing country perspective in such cases. In fact, India also voices concerns from time to time from the viewpoint of low-income economies. As the global economy works towards gaining and sustaining its recovery momentum, divergences remain between and within economies and sectors due to lack of policy space and pre-existing fault lines. Adding to that, the challenging task for the developing world would be to sustain its growth while balancing the development priorities and preparing for future safeguarding against systemic risks such as climate change. The future work of G20 is going to be challenging. We have just entered one of the most transformative decades of this era. At this time, the role of G20 in voicing the concerns of those who are most vulnerable and most impacted in the multilateral policy space will be put to a test. In some cases, international discourse may be subjected to rising polarization. Going forward, we at the G20 will need to be more proactive in delivering inclusive, just, and fair outcomes. One interesting development to observe here is the lineup of the upcoming presidencies of G20, starting with Indonesia in 2022, followed by India, and all the subsequent G20 presidencies will be hosted by emerging market economies and member countries till 2025. So the EME member countries will be holding the presidency till 2025. This could be an excellent opportunity for us to design the theme and build an agenda around the issues of importance to the emerging economies and, more importantly, ensuring continuity of that agenda. Since the EMEs also constitute strong engines of growth, bringing their issues center stage would bring in resilience to the global growth itself. This is not to say that concerns and problems of advanced economies will not be taken on board, but the idea is to make the arena of global cooperation more broad-based to harness inclusive and sustained global growth. With this objective, and keeping in view the role of India as an important emerging market developing economy, we will work towards building our themes and priorities for India's G20 presidency in 2023. The road to India's 2023 presidency is interesting as much as it is challenging. It's a matter of great pride for us that India will soon assume the G20 presidency in the year 2023. It would be an unprecedented and historic moment for all of us to witness hosting the leaders of the 20 most significant economies here in India. G20 presidency provides an excellent platform for India to voice her vision regarding a future reflecting sustainability, inclusiveness, innovation, and justice. The themes and priorities that India places before the G20 shall reflect those issues wherein the advanced and emerging market economies can jointly work for enabling the G20 to play a more constructive role in global policy discourse, reaffirm the importance of multilateral cooperation, ensure the multilateralism leads to expansion of opportunities, as well as give the direction for the G20 to reach out to the global community beyond the G20 membership and work towards realistic ambitions. Additionally, we are working towards identifying the vacuum areas in international policy coordination. These could be in the area of building resilience, or in the reforming long-awaited systems, or in creating new effective global institutions, or even strengthening the mandate, reach, and effectiveness of the existing ones, such as the FATF and also the IMF. We would like to carry forward some legacy items of work in finance track and bring in some new topics that will be of relevance in 2023. In 2023, we will be only 7 years away from the target date of achieving sustainable development goals. We will also be perhaps looking at building back from COVID crisis. These factors could serve as guide for us. Needs of the post-COVID world will have to be addressed. I also anticipate that two-pillar solution on international taxation issues would reach an advanced implementation stage, which India will have to pilot. Similarly, G20 could also want to look at how the project of making cross-border payments easier, faster, and cheaper is progressing. Overall, we would be responding to the need of the hour. We would derive our agenda after extensive consultations with domestic and international stakeholders. I wish to conclude that we look forward to the expertise and insights provided by key policy think tanks, both domestic and global, as we gear up for 2023. ICRIER has been an excellent knowledge partner to the Ministry of Finance, and we look forward to insightful contributions through such events. Lastly, I would like to leave the session open with a thought. As policymakers, we have the obvious responsibility to work towards the growth and development of our country and the well-being of our people. But in our international role, we also need to recognize our responsibility to promote and support a reformed, reinvigorated, and strengthened multilateral system, now so more than ever before. And I believe that a forum like G20 is well placed to steer this balancing of our economic common needs and priorities. I look forward to views from the esteemed panel and the promising discourse at the subsequent sessions. Thank you very much.